The crew. Oh, off, bird. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called The Boopening, written by Farmwitch4275. The station lay quiet and calm, gently floating in orbit of a moon of one of the odd star system's gas giants, Callisto. The automated system had been watching the local sapiens for several decades now, and it was time for a manned crew to take command. The system had compiled exabytes of data on the so-called humans, and it was finally time to distribute and learn. A small frigate-class ship containing 20 souls from our 4 council races entered the system, alerting the starbase to its owners. 8 of the Serenkai snake-like creatures with shovel-shaped heads were the first to slither off the ship into the station. Master weaponsmiths, they were responsible for the Galactic Council's warship fleet. 5 of the Moreira, large centaur-like beastmen, walked on their large muscular hind legs, were the Council's scholars and researchers, unmatched in terms of their thirst for knowledge. 3 of the Olivarchians were the third to exit, the Council's diplomatic class, enormous spider-like creatures that resembled a certain breed of jumping spider. And, finally, 2 Tanami, a race of tall humanoid creatures resembling a type of grey elf. The station's AI welcomed them and opened everything up, readying their quarters and unlocking server access. Chatter and casual conversation about their location and situation began in earnest. It seemed normal. Then it all began to fall apart when the actual system's information was being reviewed. It started simply with pictures of humans in their daily lives. The crew became stranger and stranger. The normally stoic Tanami became so enamored they couldn't wipe the smiles off their faces. The Olivarchians were more affected. Their minds seemed unable to concentrate for too long. They seemed preoccupied, less with their work and more with using their silk to mass-produce small dolls that looked like humans or various human toys. The Serenkai were the worst affected, unable to take their faces away from the monitors, only leaving their stations when they collapsed from exhaustion and had to be carried away by service robots. The Moreira were distracted, concerned, looking as if they were constantly worried, scared, or were behaving in a way that a parent would during their child's first day alone at school. The behavior became more erratic, more concerning, more obsessive. Arguments broke out as each member of the crew began to talk about breaking protocol and uplift the humans early. Some even considered mutiny during these arguments. These arguments were, however, stopped immediately when one member decided that he needed his fix and returned to gawk at the consoles with the others hot on his heels to do the same. Then one day, it came to a head. Researcher Magnus de Wield of the Minders clan broke ranks, got on board an escape pod, and jettisoned it towards Earth. What followed this event was, the single most ridiculous, humiliating, and embarrassing first contact ever seen in 15,000 years of Council's history. Yes, even more so with that cult on the planet of the Cheese People. Even worse than that. Recording starts timestamp 11/18/441Y3. Location Earth, North America, Texas. 11:14 p.m. local time. Researcher Magnus crash lands outside of a rural town. The camera shakes violently as he exits the pod and charges towards a nearby domicile. A human is working in a field with a machine known as a tractor, farming equipment. The human spots Magnus, screams in terror, and runs towards the domicile, entering before Magnus can catch up. Magnus attacks the door, screeching like some kind of primal beast, and attempts to destroy the door. A human holding a projectile weapon of some kind appears from the larger door, and Magnus's personal shield unit prevents him from suffering fatal injury. The shrapnel from the blast shatters several windows, alerting other humans to the events. Screams and panic are emitted from the domicile. The human with the weapon yells something as Magnus grabs the projectile weapon and attempts to remove it. The human resists and is thrown through the shattered window, with Magnus discarding the device. Magnus uses the open window to climb into the domicile, cornering 3 humans in what is known as a kitchen. 1 adult and 2 juveniles, 2 female, 1 male. The adult female grabs a blade and attempts to attack Magnus. Her attempt is interrupted by the adult male attempting to use a large axe. His attack is neglected, both tools discarded and thrown into the group of 3. Magnus approaches, having successfully disarmed the group. He uses his 4 front legs to reach out to them. The family screams in terror as they believe this is the end. Magnus's pedipalps press into their noses and he emits a noise. Magnus takes an obnoxious, annoying, loud, deep breath and resumes. The moment of awkward silence passes. Very awkward silence. What? The adult female asks. You coyote poop snoot. Magnus sounded as if he was intoxicated or some kind of medication. A few minutes more of awkward silence pass. This entire time, Magnus appears to be humming and has not taken his pedipalps off their noses. The 2 children are no longer scared, but rather just look mildly annoyed. The adults appear very, very confused. The human male awkwardly raises his hand. Magnus responds with, "Boop! What boop?" "Pardon me, what the actual flaming expletive is going on here?" he loudly yells. "Human cute, therefore boop the snoot. Now shut up, I not done booping," Magnus replies frankly. Magnus continues, humming an odd tune to himself. A few more minutes pass, and he retracts his legs. "Done! The universe is sated. The law is adhered to," he says idly, as if this was perfectly normal. "Law? What law?" the woman cried out. "Universal law number 27. If you sees cute, boop the snoot," Magnus said, and walked away. He leaves the room through the window he broke and is stopped dead in his tracks by the sight of a legion of humans, all heavily armed. Realizing his shield wouldn't hold out against that level of firepower, he raises his front legs and he can be heard saying, "Oops," as he is surrounded and hogtied, then secured inside the rear of a large armored vehicle. Recording concludes. The men in the boardroom all pass glances as they read the report. Shortly after a family in Texas got attacked by a giant sapient alien spider, the entire planet has been in full-scale uproar. Not only full sapient life, but a giant fuck-off spider. The fact we were not alone in the universe changed almost everything. And now we had an alien researcher in Texas jail, and likely his support fleet wandering around in the star system.
So, let me get this straight. He wasn't attacking us?
One of the generals asks.
"No, sir. He was apparently, I can't believe I'm saying this, but, booping the cute. Apparently aliens find us very, very endearing, adorable. Oh, I feel sick."
A major standing near him replied,
"I don't know how to feel about this. On one hand, we aren't alone. They're clearly interested in us being around. On the other hand, I don't exactly like the terms here,"
another general said, hanging his head in sadness.
"Yes, sir, their technology is significantly greater than ours, too. Apparently, the creatures that make up the 4 majority species are giant space spiders, giant space snakes, space centaurs, and space elves. Ones that look like those guys from Star Wars. What were they again? Kamenex or something. You know, the cloner guys. It's only a bit chunkier and pointy ears,"
one of the other 8s just said.
"Just because you put giant space and then a thing doesn't make it any more endearing, Major. I really hate that nomenclature. Just put SP ace before a word or thingy and suddenly better. Christ. I hate the world sometimes," one general said in a huff.
"Well, gents, it's the fact of the matter is," President Ronald said, breaking the concentration. "They outnumber us, outgun us, outclass us, and frankly, we need the help at this point. That alien spider thing has caught the world's attention, and the fact is, because of that, we effectively avoided World War III. Nobody wants to look bad and stupid in front of the aliens, after all, especially if they like us."
"Yeah, diplomatic channels with North Korea opened up within the last hour. They even sent a unit to play ambassador. I've been in constant talks with like 70 people from the Midwest and last 2 days. It's ridiculous. We could have discovered the secret to immortality and not got this kind of reaction,"
the U.S. ambassador said idly.
"So the fact is, we only have one real option. Engage in diplomatic talks with the aliens and see if we can borrow some much-needed tech. In exchange, we see what they want out of us. Probably colony rights or exchange programs or such like, the first general said. This time, his voice stern and serious. I pass the motion, gentlemen. A new operation, codename Alien Ubu. We create new programs to incentivize peace, new systems to fix our economy, and we endear ourselves to the aliens in exchange for some much-needed tech. If we're lucky, we can sucker them into giving us a ship. Then the engineers will do the rest. All in favor of Operation Alien Ubu say aye, the president said. They all looked at each other and, in a broken and defeated way, raised their hands and all said, Ubu. The aides and assistants nearby either stifled a laugh or rolled their eyes. Suddenly, the soldier appeared in the doorway as a clear state of alarm. Sir, unidentified ship in orbit. It's heading to the Houston. It looks like the Spider Dude's buddies are here. Well, gents, there's our cue. Operation Alien Uwu is a go. For all our sakes, Godspeed, the president said, and dismissed himself from the room. Within hours, a large Iowa-class battleship-sized spaceship landed on the outskirts of Houston, Texas. A loud noise from an onboard speaker system sounded, and one of the Tanami spoke up, his voice echoing through the continent. Sorry about this, but can we have our idiot back? End of story.
I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.